Good afternoon, Pioneers. Thank you for tuning in to this special broadcast of the California Faculty Association Budget Town Hall. I'm Elise Girardi.
And I'm Vincent Lancioni.
Join us today as members of CSU East Bay's chapter of the CFA discuss the university's structural deficit.
CFA members will also address the faculty's ongoing bargaining proposals with university administrators, as well as plans to eliminate the Spanish bachelor's degree program.
We spoke with James Murray, president of Cal State East Bay's CFA chapter, for more information.
As you know, there's been significant budget cuts at the university. These budget cuts have led to laying off several faculty, which has resulted in a number of difficulties in students getting courses. So we're concerned about kind of a downward spiral where we lose students, we lose budget, we lose faculty to teach those courses, which make fewer courses and then have fewer students. So we're concerned about staving off that spiral down. We're, in particular, a good example was the Spanish language program, which is scheduled to be cut, despite the fact that we're a Hispanic serving institution, and there's quite a lot of interest in the Spanish language program. In fact, over the last year or so, there's been an increase in number of students interested in the program. So we're, confused about why it would be scheduled for discontinuance. We're also, concerned that the main driver of making courses available is the presence of faculty to teach those courses. And if we're going to be cutting faculty, we're unclear about how that's going to eventually lead to a balanced budget with students coming in. The other concern is there does seem to be enough money from the chancellor's office to compensate administrators and give them raises. If that's the case, then why are we not focusing on things that will directly affect enrollment and bring in students? We know that some courses have been moved to online, and for many students that's not their preferred method of learning. So we'd like to have more in-person classes for our students as well. As you probably already know, that we got a $50 million donation, and so that should give us some freedom to work on mechanisms to recruit more students and attract more students to our campus. We have lost upwards of 25% of our enrollment since COVID, and it'll be very important to try to attract more students. We're in the Bay Area. We should have plenty of students who could come here.
We'd like to thank Professor Murray for taking the time to speak with us.
We now return to the Pioneer Media Center, where CFA East Bay's Budget Town Hall is set to begin in just a moment. Stay tuned.
Hello.
Okay.
Again, there's a number of designated teachers. Oh, yes. Number one, you can go through the second round a little bit as well. Yeah.
You're right, yes. So when I did it, I would drive most of the days, most of the, like, I would do a right? And then usually quit 5 hours early. And then I would take that day.
That's what I haven't done.
That worked out really well.
So Pina, dead air is a sin, right? I'm supposed to be talking, keeping the air full of something.
Oh,
I can talk physiology if people want to hear about it. Nat told me a couple minutes. Yeah. I'm James Murray. I'm a professor of physiology, also chapter president of the university. We're going to get started in a couple minutes, and if people on TV land want to call in, you can get their number from our website and call in your physiological questions. Okay, looks like people are coming in to have their seats.
James, who has the clicker?
I'm
change.
just going to say next slide,
Next
I guess.
slide.
There's someone out there in TV
respond.
land who can respond to when I say next slide?
Who's got
In
the
the studio
clicker?
back there? Presumably there's someone back there. Yep, thank you.
Oh, there we are. Well,
Nat?
Yeah,
Is it time?
it is time.
Okay. Hello, welcome to our budget town hall sponsored by the California Faculty Association chapter at Cal State East Bay. My name is James Murray. I am the chapter president of CFA chapter here on campus. And I would like to briefly introduce the people who are going to be speaking today. Jeff Newcomb, former chapter president and member of the COBRA committee. John Chen from statewide CFA is our communications specialist. And Kenya Juarez is our head of the Students for Quality Education. Gabriela Diaz-Davalos will be zooming in to talk about the Spanish language program. Stephanie Seitz has sent a report on bargaining. She is our chapter faculty rights chair. Amara Miller, who was there briefly, is our organizing chair. Kevin Pina is our chapter lecturer representative and is running this TV studio. And Nat Lowe is our senior field representative from statewide CFA. Next slide, if that slide is up there, in fact.
We are getting them up. That's why I stepped
Thank
up.
you. Our agenda slide, you can see that there. We're going to do a little talking about the budget situation. We're going to talk about the myth of austerity. We'll talk about ways of telling stories instead about student impacts and the effects on the Spanish baccalaureate degree. We'll give you an update on bargaining. We'll talk about organizing and how we can win for a better contract and win more course availability for students, and specifically what you all can do to help us. So
Thank you, Jim.
next.
We have, are we good with the microphone?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yes, thank you. We'd like to start with a brief overview of where we are here at East Bay. Obviously, you are all in a good position to know where you are, but we want to give you a little bit of background here and as to where our budget situation is and how we got here. And we're going to start with just a quick overview of enrollment, because enrollment is at the heart of our concerns. The enrollment at East Bay has declined over 9 years from 2017 to 2025 at a moving average of 30%. So that's a significant decline in enrollment, but it certainly is not an unrecoverable situation, and a lot of good folks are working hard right now on trying to reorganize and develop a more aggressive outreach for students. But administration has reacted with course cuts and program cuts and a reduction by 42% of the lecturer faculty over the last few years. The Chancellor's office set in 2023 campus enrollment goals for all 23 campuses in the CSU system, and with a penalty of 5% of budget allocation to be cut if indeed those goals were not met. Well, we are in what is known as the X group. The X group are the campuses which have not achieved the enrollment goal and have failed by more than 5%, and that unfortunately has been our campus. So we have been essentially penalized for a low enrollment for some time now, and coming up for this current year, we will be looking at a 5% cut in our allocation from the CSU, which is to say from the state government. Our enrollment has stabilized, however, and we have a head count at the moment of about 11,000 students, 10,910, and with a full-time equivalent factor of 8,850 students. Just so we all know what the difference is, head count is not full-time equivalence. The full-time equivalence is what counts with the goals set by the Chancellor's office. So that's what we want to focus upon, the 8,850 students which we now have on campus and online across all California residents. So the graph that I show you here is one that I borrowed from our budget office, which simply indicates the enrollment over the last several years by FTEs. That is, again, full-time equivalent students. That means students who are taking a full load, right? We don't count those students who are not taking a full load for this purpose. And so again, that number has stabilized in the last year, which is a good thing. And our hope is that we can, with a good deal of effort and concentration, increase that enrollment accordingly. Let's turn the page. So the question becomes, how does enrollment affect this question of budget? And indeed, that term structural deficit has been used a lot, been used by our president to describe our situation, been used by others in administration and across the state to describe the situation at several university campuses that have low enrollment. So what I wanted to show you here is this graphic, again put together by our budget office, and the data is available on Pioneer Insights, which show the current situation relative to the projected budget that has been put together by administration. You'll see two sets of green blocks. Those are representative of revenues and other sources of revenue for the university, including tuition and fees. And you'll see the red block, which represents, of course, expenses. And you'll see a rather small, which is a good thing, red block at the top, which is concerned with measuring or exemplifying our deficit. The deficit right now, as of last month, is pegged at $11.4 million. And that essentially represents the 5% cut, which is being asked by the Chancellor's Office as a penalty for our low enrollment. So the way in which this structural deficit can be resolved is in a number of ways. And the ways in which the Chancellor's Office is looking to us to resolve that situation is by doing what's necessary to cut expenses, cut costs. So we may be looking at some more cuts and some more reductions in programs and so on in order to meet this goal. We'll probably also need to dip into our reserves. The question is all that necessary? Are there other ways of looking at this situation? And in fact, is the goal setting by the Chancellor's Office fair and equitable? There's an increasing number of folks around the state who have also been involved with the low enrollment conundrum, and there's a lot of interest in looking to revise the way in which this situation is organized. So structurally, this is a difficult challenge, because as we eat away at our reserves, as we eat away at our ability to deliver good programs and eat away at our ability to develop a great teaching, we are also making our campus smaller, and we are reducing even further the impact we can have on new students. So it's a de minimis reality that we're looking to face, and it needs to end. And that's one of the main reasons we're looking here to have a discussion about how we might accomplish that. What tools, what ability is at our disposal to make a difference here in reversing these tragic decisions about how to make this structural deficit disappear. Thank you.
Okay. Next slide, what's happening in the CSU? Is this on to John?
One more. If we can move to the next one, and then yes.
Next slide after that?
Yes.
Okay, so this is me.
Okay.
Yes, this is
Oh,
you.
okay.
And yes.
Oh, okay, it's different on yours than up there. So, hi, I just want to really quickly introduce myself. I'm John Chan. I've been a lecturer at Sacramento State for the last 13 years. And I also serve as one of the communication specialists with CFA, so I work statewide. So I can kind of see what's happening all around the different campuses in the CSU. It's my first time at CSU East Bay, so thanks for having me. It's super awesome. I'll leave the numbers for people like Jeff, who are far more fit to discuss these sorts of issues, and they are really important, right? And I think knowing what takes place behind the scenes gives us context for the broader pattern of mismanagement that we're seeing. And it also places more weight and conviction in our speech when we advocate for the things that we care about, right? So it's really important to understand the background. I want to start by saying that there's a question that we have to ask, and Jeff actually already asked it just a moment ago. And the question is this: is the CSU really in deep financial crisis? And does it need to lay off faculty, cut courses, dismantle departments, replace tenure-line faculty with adjunct faculty, and increase student tuition and student fees in order to survive? And the answer is, it depends on who's listening, right? You see, management has created two very distinct narratives that contradict one another, and only one can be true. On the one hand, they tell faculty, students, staff, and local community members that the lack of funds for operating costs is jeopardizing the core academic mission of the CSU. Okay, so that's what they tell us. On the other hand, they are telling their their lenders and their investors on Wall Street that the CSU is in excellent financial health. They say they have a stellar credit rating and that they can always take on more institutional debt and repay that debt. And do you know how? By cutting labor and increasing student tuition and fees. So students are now being burdened to pay back a debt that the Chancellor's office and our campus administrators took on, not in the interests of students, right, but in order to line the pockets of their investors. Students, faculty, and staff are being forced to live for someone else's profit, right? Unfortunately, the crisis and austerity that we are seeing right now is very much manufactured, but it is not a myth. It is very real, and you're seeing its impacts right now on your campus, right? You'll often hear our president, Margarita Berta-Avila, say that budgets are moral documents. When you look at where the money is going in the CSU, you'll see that it is being funneled into areas that benefit executives and investors, but matter least to our students, right? So here's the truth of the matter. And all that we're going to be discussing today, right, it's your experience as educators and students that matter most. Each of you carries with you experiences that you had to go through because of external pressures that force you to do things in ways that you would never do on your own. Some of you or your students, right, may face food and housing insecurities. Some of you may carry debt that you never expect to pay off and will be made worse when your courses are cut. Some of your course sizes may have increased, forcing you to spend less time with more students. Others of you have to worry about whether or not you maintain your courses so that you can secure health insurance for your family. Management's decisions to do all of this is a choice, right? And these cuts are decisions. And these cuts don't just happen to an educator, like many of us, right? They happen to people who happen to be parents, right? Caretakers, children, workers. So don't think that your stories don't matter. They don't just make a little difference, they make all the difference. Teaching can be a very lonely profession. For most of my experience as a lecturer, I felt quite isolated from my colleagues. And I'm assuming many of you might feel that way too. But when I began talking to people through CFA, through this organization, I was surprised at how many people share the same experiences that I do. The fact that you are here today in this budget town hall is an incredible story, right? And you should be proud of yourself that you came today. It means you desire change and that you are not satisfied with the status quo. And you are finding the courage to come and enforce that change with the people around you. When you realize that management has no aspirations besides boosting their credit ratings, reducing costs, and stashing money away for their investors, you suddenly realize they don't have a story to tell. At least not one that inspires real hope or transformation. But you do have a story to tell. You are the bedrock of an academic institution that cares deeply about education serving as a public good. So make sure to tell your stories, your struggles, your triumphs, and most importantly, make sure that you're making friends and building community. Not only is it inherently worthwhile to do so, but it's nice to share the burden and the riches that often accompany our lives as teachers. So please make sure that you're letting legislators and your local communities and other colleagues know about what is happening on your campus, because it's the most important thing to create that change. Thanks. Thanks.
Thank you. Next up is Kenya Juarez for the Students for Quality Education. You're going to have her sit there? Okay.
I can go down. I don't have to.
My
name is Kenya Juarez. I'm here representing Students for Quality Education. We work directly with CFA, so I know everybody pretty well. And we're here just to also give perspective on the student experience and kind of what faculty can do for student organizers on our campus. We also have Decay here. They will introduce themselves whenever it's their section. So students have been struggling a lot with the lack of transparency from campus administration. For the past about year and a half, we've been trying to work closely with our administrators and, to create spaces where we can have dialogue on what our concerns are and, what we can do about those and feel like our university actually cares about students and what they think and what we deserve and the quality of education that we deserve. We've been losing a lot of crucial support staff and programs on our campus. I also work with EOP, which is Educational Opportunity Program on our campus, and the understaffing and underfunding of that program has really made me see, more of a staff perspective, and I understand why faculty are so, also stressed. They're in a difficult position, and they're cutting a lot of our professors and our faculty. That also impacts students because your guys' working conditions are our classroom conditions, so it really does impact us, and we've been trying to both advocate for students and faculty with administration. We've also, the overall experience on our campus has in a way gotten worse, including losing transportation on our campus. I don't know if you guys know, the ACE Transit was added in, or a contract was done with the ACE Transit, which consulted to us losing our shuttle, which for a lot of students was their main transportation, and also for a lot of faculty and staff. So not only did students lose a safe transportation from campus to connected to our community in Hayward, but also now faculty have to pay to come to campus and teach on top of them already being underpaid. So that is it for this section.
Hello. Okay. Hello, I'm Decay. I don't want to be too loud. I'm here representing Students for Liberation and Peace. Although I do a lot of other campus organizing, I've also helped start a community garden on this campus. I work in food systems research on this campus. I've worked in rapid response organizing on this campus. I'm kind of all over, and to kind of reflect on what was said in the previous section about telling your story, that was something I was reflecting on my drive over here, because I am a commuter. Is my second semester here, I was on the picket line with CFA in the rain in 2024 with that round of bargaining agreements. And before that moment, but especially since I noticed, I've been told over and over by admin, as mentioned earlier, that we do not have the funds to invest in students, that we do not have the funds to invest in programs that I need to graduate. And it's become exceedingly clear to me over the last 3 years of me being a student here that I'm not here because this is the best education I could be getting. I'm an honor roll student. I've been on the dean's list multiple times. I'm constantly getting letters for all these programs that I can't afford to join. I'm here because this is the only college I can afford, and I'm here because the faculty care. There is nothing else that admin is offering me on this campus that is keeping me here, besides the fact that they happen to hire some wonderful, amazing faculty who are actually putting their hearts into the work being done. And because I grew up here. I grew up off of East Street, right around the corner. East Bay was the college I always imagined going to. It's the one I can afford. And it's one I want to make better before I leave. It's one that I've been working to make better before I leave. But as a result of the constant cost cutting, as a result of the constant diverting my funds and my education into investment opportunities that I will never see the benefits from, we have seen a continual decrease in classes. Students are having to delay graduation. Students are having to go to other educational institutions, having to switch majors just to keep going. I've personally been affected by the fact that a lot of programs are moving online. I cannot learn online. I cannot organize online. It is really difficult to work and be in community when I do not see people face to face. I can't hang out after class and linger and be like, hey, what are you doing? Are you getting lunch? Or hi, let's go to the community garden, because we're online and the cameras are off. It's a great opportunity to have flexibility for some students who need that, but when it becomes compulsory and when it becomes an exclusive cost-saving measure, that is when it's a problem. So we have seen a continual decrease in heart and community on this campus. We have seen a continual diversion of our funds into things that will never benefit us or the faculty or the staff here. And it's time to change. It's been time for a change. We've been trying to make that change happen. And every year, every meeting like this, there's another renewed opportunity for that. And some of the images, I believe on the next slide, I've collected over the last several years of my organizing on here, different events that we've done. There's images of the community garden that I helped put together with one of the faculty members. There's images of protests that we've held, of art gatherings that we've held, of potlucks that we've held. There's a lot of heart. There's a lot of great things that can happen and can continue to happen on this campus community, but it can only really happen with faculty support. All the things I mentioned, the garden, the Palestinian Liberation Front, the rapid response organizing, all of those were founded by faculty members and then carried forward by students. Without your guys' input, without your guys' active work, that kind of disappears. You guys are going to be here after I'm gone. You guys were here before I was here. In 5 years, I will probably not be sitting at this table speaking on behalf of CFA. You guys will probably still be here listening. So it's up to you guys to kind of carry that forward. And I think Kenya had some more to say on that.
Yeah, and I think lastly, we did want to also, like, in case you're not as involved with CFA and, you know, this is your first experience with CFA, I think that a lot of students, what would make it a lot easier for a lot of student organizers is also having more faculty involved with student organizing and really having those safe spaces where we can go and, you know, organize and build community together. Like Dike said, I feel like that's something that we really lack on our campus, and we've been trying really, really hard to get that back up, but it only gets harder as you know, cuts get worse. And I think this is the first full year where we felt the cuts a lot, and I think students are starting to wake up. So I think the momentum is here. We've built a lot of groundwork within like the 3 years that we've been also organizing together. There's a foundation being made, and I think now that there's student power and momentum, I think faculty, this is where you guys can come in and, you know, advise any classes that you guys have, talk to students, have one-on-one conversations, get them involved with CFA. There's a lot of student organizing opportunities within CFA. SQE is a extension of CFA, and with that they support students and also, you know, give career opportunities and are able to, you know, build us up with the confidence of being student organizers and voicing our concerns and how to do that and how to do that safely. So with that also, like, that's kind of like our ask for a faculty today. Be more involved with your students, as in, like, tell them where these resources are, tell them, oh, you know, CFA is having this town hall today, we should come in, or, you know, sometimes give a little extra credit for that. You know, this is what entices students to want to go and show up, and once you get them here, you can hook them and, you know, get them involved and hopefully build an even bigger community on our campus. We've done a lot of, you know, having the spaces with Sandine to talk about these concerns, and we've had 2 meetings with her now. Obviously, there hasn't been a lot of improvement for that, but it's something that has never been done before. So, you know, that was an accomplishment for us, and, you know, we're on the lookout for those $50 million, and I think now more than ever we need students to speak up, and we need faculty to support the students to speak up and feel comfortable to, you know, not be intimidated by administration, and, you know, make our voices heard, because at the end of the day, we do fund this institution. Our tuition money does go to these credit debts. So yeah. I think we're done. Yeah.
I think we're good. Thank
you guys so much for being here.
Appreciate it. Professor of Writing, Languages, and Literatures, Gabriela Diaz-Davalos, who I believe is zooming in with us.
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Give us just a second while we hook up technology.
Can you hear me?
We can see you, Gabriella, but we can't hear you yet. We're getting there.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. I'll keep talking to see. Let me know when you hear me. I cannot see anything.
Hopefully getting to a point where we can hear you. Still figuring out sound.
Okay,
so
good.
Pausing briefly.
Okay.
What about captions? Can you engage captions?
Does that work? Yeah. I'll keep talking and when you hear
Sorry,
me.
y'all.
Can you hear me?
Part of the experiment. It got very loud very briefly.
Oh, sorry.
Ooh, I can almost hear you.
Okay.
Keep talking, Gabriella.
All right, I'm gonna keep talking. You let me know
Heard her
when
for a
you
second.
actually hear me, because I can see the
Any sign of
YouTube.
it? We got this, y'all. Sorry, y'all. It wouldn't be something in academia if we didn't have tech problems with sound. So.
Of course, yeah. That's very common, yeah. Okay, I'll keep talking. Let me know when you hear me. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello. Can you hear me now?
Yes, that's starting to work, Tina.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? I'm talking. I'm gonna keep talking, okay?
Any luck, Tina? Almost
gonna-
there. We're getting there.
Hello. Hello. Hello, hello. Hi there. Hi everybody. Can you hear me? Hello. Hello, hello. Hello, hello. 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 Oh, you can hear me on YouTube? Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Wow, that's that's interesting. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna keep talking. Let me know what's going on, because now I cannot hear anything. Hello. Hello, hello. Hello. I hear something. I can hear something. Oh, that is interesting that you can hear me. Okay. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, probando, probando. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. Can you hear? I can hear you. Now I can hear you. Okay. Okay. All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Gabriela Diaz-Davalos, and I'm an assistant professor in the Department of Writing, Languages, and Literatures. And I want to share critical information about the Spanish BA program. A program that is critical to our students, to our mission, and to our community. So, first of all, I want to talk about our students. 40% of our students are Latinx. So that's nearly half of our students' population. Many of these students rely on Spanish, not only for cultural affirmation, but also for their academic and professional success. Now, CSU East Bay is a Hispanic serving institution, and this program is a core part of how we fulfill that designation. Now, let's consider, the resources that we've been talking about, that are available to the university. We received a $50 million donation from Mackenzie Scott. And yet, instead of restoring programs and faculty positions that serve our Latinx students, the administration is moving forward with the cutting of programs, including the Spanish BA, and, to create new programs instead of, helping the ones that we already have, right? So I think we need to ask, why are we eliminating a program that directly impacts, as students, that directly empowers Latinx students when we have these resources available. Especially if this decision does not save the university any meaningful money. So in other words, like there's no clear budget justification for eliminating the program. And, this is not just about a major, it's about mission alignment, The Spanish BA was used in the review for our university to become recognized under the Seal of Excelencia, which highlights programs that intentionally serve Latinx students. So cutting our program sends a troubling message that we're not prioritizing equity, students' opportunity, or professional preparation, right? Especially in the current political climate that we are right now. So now let's look at the impact on students. So many of our students are, Spanish major, double Spanish major, Spanish minor. They're first generation students. They're balancing jobs, they're balancing family, they're balancing academics. And while some students may not choose a Spanish major, removing the program eliminates the option for those who do. And for those who need it the most, actually. So students pursuing double majors or professional pathways in bilingual work would actually lose critical opportunities if this program disappears. Currently, it is slated for discontinuation in the spring 2027. And, by the way, administration does not count double majors in their calculations for majors, right? So again, it's a matter of transparency here in how they're using data. So, here's a question that, I guess we need to ask ourselves. Again, why are we cutting the Spanish BA program? This is the only full Spanish degree on campus, and eliminating does not just affect enrollment numbers, since the administration wants to keep the courses, right? But it impacts students' access to careers. It impacts our communities that are being torn apart and are being terrorized by ICE agents. And it impacts our institutional mission as a whole, like I said, So anyway, finally, again, we're asking, what we're asking is simple, give the program time to demonstrate its continued relevance and growth. Empower us, not diminish us. Allow a pause for review, see how our enrollment is growing, and recognize the value it brings to our Latinx students and the broader community. Cutting it now not only undermines students' access, but also contradicts the HSI, the Hispanic Servant Institution mission we proudly uphold. So again, we're asking administration to empower us, to give student opportunities, not obstacles, to support bilingual careers, not remove pathways. Okay, I'm going to stop here. I want to thank everyone that has already supported, the future of our Spanish BA program, the students who depend on it. I believe we're sharing the link of the petition in the slides. I'm not sure if it's there, but it should be there. But if not, we'll be happy to, share it somewhere in the chat maybe.
We're really happy you could zoom in. Gabrielle is actually on leave this term and is supposed to not be doing
You hear me?
this type of work, fighting for her program. So we really appreciate Gabriella joining us. And as she said, do sign the petition.
Okay,
I just also want to flag, right, why care about the Spanish BA if you're in a different college. Program closures are a way around contract obligations around layoffs. So one of the reasons why Sandine is going after program closures is because it circumnavigates our clause in our contract as faculty about having to notify us for layoffs. So I personally see Spanish as a canary in a coal mine. They're testing the waters around program closures so they can push some other layoffs in the future. So I think it's really vital for us to support right now as much as possible. If we could get the bargaining slide up, that next one after the Spanish BA, that would be really lovely. So we were going to hear an update from Stephanie Seitz, who is our bargaining rep, but she is literally in bargaining right now. So she has recorded a video. We're going to send it out to all our members via email because it is a little long and we want to make sure you all have access to it, but we're just going to very briefly give a rundown on bargaining before we do some interactive stuff. Nat, do you want to cover this part, or do you want me to? Awesome.
Yeah,
Go for
so
it.
we're not going to do the video. Yeah, we're going to do it after.
We're going to keep it simple.
We're running out of time. So I wanted to share briefly what's going on at the bargaining table. We are bargaining right now. Stephanie is literally in bargaining as we speak. And as expected, you know, as we covered before, management is saying that resources are tight. And not only that, they're actually proposing unprecedented takebacks. So not only are they saying that they can't give us anything, that they need to actually take back a number of things. So they would want to make it harder to enforce our contract. They want to weaken protections for faculty. And what's even more insulting is that they want to offer a one-time bonus instead of lasting raises. So they're offering a 3% one-time bonus. That would just be a one-time thing. It doesn't go into permanent raises. Meanwhile, we are demanding real cost of living raises, right? So we saw in the last contract campaign, inflation was skyrocketing. So we're actually asking for cost of living plus 2%. We're also asking for automatic step raises as well. Another key demand is no free work. We're demanding that service, research, other labor should be counted and compensated. We want more job security and stronger pathways for lecturers as well. And one of the key provisions there is that we want to tie the floor to 10% of what Mildred Garcia makes. So she makes like close to $800,000 base salary. So it would be close to $80,000 for the baseline for lecturers, right? And then of course we want to save the Spanish BA program, and we want to make sure that we stop cuts. So which is going to lead us to, how do we do that? How do we organize and win a majority? Do you want to do this slide?
So how do we organize and win a majority? A majority means we are actually a majority. So part of that is going to be getting a majority of faculty on our campus to actually be, not only have buy-in, but also be organized effectively. And it doesn't mean always showing up to CFA meetings every time we do an organizing meeting. You don't have to be like super involved, but it does mean like checking CFA updates and showing up to big actions when we do have them. So a majority for us is going to mean making sure every department is organized with at least, you know, a couple people who are tapped into what's going on in the union so they can keep their colleagues updated and turn out folks when we need them. We also want to make sure that more faculty on this campus, most faculty on this campus, are connected to each other so that we can, you know, share news when we have news like this ridiculous proposal on the table to give us a 3% one-time frickin' bonus payment while they're giving raises to executives. We also need to be able to turn out most people to act together, especially for big actions, because we are, well, I'll just say, things are not looking great at the bargaining table, so we are getting strike ready starting this year and probably going into next fall. So we want to make sure that we have the majority of us engaged enough so we can win and we can fight together. So if we can move to our next slide, we're going to start doing a little bit of work together to do this. By developing and identifying who we go to when we need help and trying to organize some of those folks. So I'm going to turn it back over to Nat.
Yeah, so this slide is about identifying trusted colleagues, okay? So one thing we learned in the last strike, we had close to like 30% for our strike authorization vote. In fact, that was 30% of all turnout of all faculty. And that is not enough to win a strong contract. We need at least a majority, if not stronger, to get there. And the way to do that is not through mobilizing. So mobilizing is when we send out a text blast, we send out emails, and we just expect people to show up. And what ends up happening is that we get the already engaged, right? Already folks who are plugged in, who are already on our side, which is great, but we actually need to persuade people who are not on our side, who are not connected and not engaged, to join us as well. And that is how we get a majority. So what we need to do is identify trusted colleagues, folks who can move folks. Who are those people that you turn to when you have a problem or an issue? Who do people turn to when they have an issue at work, right? Who do people trust? Who can get others to show up? And we have those folks in every department, in every program on campus. And we want to be able to identify those folks and turn them out. and they're not always the loudest. They're not always the most active, and usually they're actually the most. They are reluctant to get involved because they do know that they are leaders and that they do have influence, right? So right now, everyone has on their chair these campus action team commitment forms, and we're going to take a couple minutes right now to fill these out. So just make sure you fill out your name, department, cell phone, email, and then we're going to have a section called "I'm interested in helping build the cat by." And you can choose here. I'd like to talk to 1 to 3 colleagues. I'd like to help cover my department. I want to help identify and trusted colleagues. And I want to stay connected to future actions, right? And then you can put down the colleagues who I'm committed to talking to. If we can all reach out to 1 to 3 colleagues in this room, we're going to start to build our CAT team and try to get someone in every department who can move others so that we can be strike ready, all right? And then also we want to identify respected and trusted colleagues, right? So these are the folks who can move others, who folks turn to when they have issues, and those are the folks who are going to really help us move into a majority, okay? So let's take a couple minutes to fill that out.
5 minutes, and we'll float around and help chat. And you can talk to your neighbor, and you can brainstorm together. And after that, we'll wrap up very briefly, and then we'll have lunch on the way out as you leave. So stick around for the food.
Yeah.
But we'll come
please
back.
leave these forms behind. Yeah. as well.
112. A little group reflect, and then some takeaways before we bounce with some lunch. So talk to your neighbor, and we will come back in 5.
I mean, we want to say like, hey, thank you for supporting us while we were on our strike, and it's you guys go on to the battle, then we will be there to support you guys.
I don't even know what happened with
They just got fact finding in favor of that.
Mind you, we're the small mighty mouse, so we're powerful. Because we're literally shutting shit down.
you guys handle all this.
Correct. But I think at the end of the day, you have to combine power with power. Because of strategy. I mean,
I run this campus, I know where the weak points are.
oh yeah, we shut shit down. No trash, no UPS. I mean, my thing, I think the bigger picture here is the German union, which is CFA. They are the but they also speak in forthcoming.
Mary Kendall.
Okay, yeah. That's why I need to know about that.
That's the thing. Like,
Maybe you never know.
Okay. And maybe I should schedule a lunch with her.
I mean, one of the things that we encountered during our strike, some people are really against, some people are really for it, but also some people are very,
Oh, yeah, no, definitely there.
Because I mean, look, at the end of the day, man, when the clock strikes, we all gotta go back to work, we all work. We're all fighting the same battle.
Yeah, I mean, we're all just gonna kind of come up afterwards, so.
Okay, it's 12. Tomorrow? 12 after.
All right. So let's come back. We actually can see each other now. This is kind of fun having the lights on for a brief bit. So I think if we can bring up our slides again, just so that folks can see them on the feed and that folks in the room can see them. Wonderful, thank you. So we were going to do some practice combos, but I want to leave a little time maybe just to touch base. How did it feel coming up with some ideas for folks to reach out to? Does anyone want to add any comments or suggestions or thoughts? And I will happily repeat them for our live stream. No? All right, well.
Make sure you leave those forms.
Yes.
You can take a picture.
Yes, if you want to take a photo for yourself and then leave your form behind, my very, very scratchy scribbles on mine. The other form is one to take with you, and I do want to just walk through it. So this other form is a kind of how-to guide on how to have a combo with colleagues, which I know all of us can do informal ones, but talking about union stuff can get a little funny and nerve-wracking sometimes, especially if the person is a little ee. So this lovely form will give you a little bit of guidance to kind of support you through those conversations, and it does help to practice. If you ever want to practice, you can hit us up and we'll definitely help you. But the key idea is, do you want to get people in a conversation? So the folks on your list, right, try to have an actual conversation with them, not like an email thread. But something like face-to-face, either through a Zoom meeting or like a coffee check-in, or you run into each other in the hall, or you're hanging out in your department. And then the way I would suggest to get started talking is to ask questions. So we recommend asking kind of 3 main questions, like what are the issues that matter to you most right now? That relate to work, obviously not the world, right? We can't solve the war in Iran, but we can at least talk about work issues. Second, who are some other folks, other colleagues that you listen to, that you trust? And 3, would you be open to staying connected or taking part in some sort of action in CFA? And there's always stuff going on, so we can always start inviting folks to things. You can also, if you're interested, invite one of our CFA reps who are also faculty on this campus to come to a faculty department meeting. If you want to have someone there in the room, maybe at a department meeting to kind of help ease some of these conversations. So on this sheet, it has the big 3 questions, and it also has a little rap sheet, like a script that you can use to kind of get some ideas and to have some, support as you're having those difficult conversations, because again, they can be a little awkward, but they're worth having. Admin really does depend on us just not talking to each other and only listening to their narrative about things. They want us to believe this narrative of austerity, that they have no money, that there's no funding to support raises, and that they are doing all they can, right, to solve the problems, aka by lobbying the state for yet more funds that they're going to embezzle and put into financial investments. So I think it's really important for us to actually talk to each other and to really get a read on, like, what are people learning about this and how do we challenge some of those myths of austerity. You can tell people about how the CSU and the Chancellor's Office has over $13 billion with a B in investments in cash right now. So they clearly have money. So again, having those conversations allows us to start small, but to build real power. So leave your form with the names, take the form with the convo guide and questions. All right, and then one more slide change if we can, just for our last little bits about what we can do now, and then we'll grab lunch and head out. But for those of you who are here, what can you do right now? First off, if you haven't signed the petition to save the Spanish BA program, please, 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 please sign it and share it. Share it with your students, share it with your friends. You can share it outside of campus. They don't have to be affiliated with East Bay to sign. If you know folks who care about Spanish as a program here at East Bay, even if they're, you know, folks from the community, share the petition. We are trying to get as many signatures as possible because we are getting close to the end of the term and we want to be able to pressure Sandine a little on pushing things. Also, if you are a CFA member, you can attend a CFA bargaining team caucus or a bargaining town hall at the statewide level. I do want to note this is like an unprecedented level of insight and access into our bargaining team because of the changes that folks who were a little more radical at statewide pushed through at the statewide level. CFA is now doing these caucus meetings where regular members can go and participate and actually brainstorm what they want to push at the table and things like that. So it's really interesting, worth going. You'll hear a lot of really interesting tea about what's going on in bargaining and some really horrific statements from admin that they're sharing at the table when they think no one is listening. Also, you can join one of our committees. I'm always trying to recruit to these, but we really need more faculty involved. It's not a huge time commitment. Our faculty rights committee does work on grievances on campus. It's usually confidential. We usually meet just a couple times a month, and you're helping your fellow colleagues who are dealing with some really shitty stuff at work, trying to grieve violations of our contract. So if you're interested in doing that work, faculty rights committee, we really need more people. We also need more folks organizing with our membership and organizing committee, sometimes called our contract action team. We go by both names. But we're basically the ones doing strike prep, y'all. So if you want to help build power for strike, future strike, we are it. So please come join us because I really would love to get some help this time. The last time we struck, it was a lot of work. So we need to have more people involved. And then, as we said, talk to your 3 colleagues that you identified about bargaining, about joining CFA, and or getting more involved in any of these ways. So if you have any questions, let us know, but we are officially at time. So
one more thing,
yes,
just before we go, our union siblings at the University Auto Workers, United Auto Workers, who represent our teaching assistants,
yes,
would like a brief moment.
Yes, come on up, share what's happening.
Thanks, y'all. Real quick, we just wanted to talk about one thing that's happened. Many of our members are working the STEM lab. They're learning assistants. We just found out last week that about 3/4 of them are not going to get rehired. Much of the STEM lab is getting cut. I know folks have to go, but we just wanted to reach out for support because we talk about enrollment. Students who don't pass their classes, who withdraw from classes, are not going to return. They're not going to graduate. They're not going to stay enrolled. So, LAs do a lot of work to support faculty and stuff. Did you have anything on that?
Yeah, well, I'm a biology LA, and we're in the College of Science, and we're dealing with College of Science and College of Health students. And because of the Donald Trump administration, we're losing funding, but we have $50 million that Sandine said to ASI she wants to support student tutors. And the SCA is expanding, but why contract a STEM lab? We're scared for the future of the College of Health and College of Science, so we really need CFA's help to pressure Sandine to use her $50 million to keep me and all my colleagues employed.
Cool.
And
Thank
not
you.
engage in union
Thank you.
busting because
Yes.
it's totally union busting shit.
And
They
I'll-
just got unionized, yeah.
I also just wanted to say, too, we are also in contract negotiations. The CSU really likes to pattern bargain, so our fates are very tied to each other right now. So, solidarity between unions is really important. We have no service down here, but I have a I wrote a paper petition out if folks, and we can email the real petition. I'll be over there.
And we can also send it out to you. Thank you very much. If folks have questions, hang out. Otherwise, we'll see you later. And grab some lunch on your way out. Thanks, y'all. Huge, huge, huge thanks to Pina and the East Bay Live folks who are all amazing, and we love you, and you're amazing.